I'm your host, Jordan Jenga, and you're watching The Auto Show.
Each show will talk about what's new in the industry and what's going on in the local automotive landscape. We'll have interviews with area dealers, experts, and bring you presentations and reviews on some of the latest cars, trucks, and SUVs. Hello viewers and welcome back. As usual, we're going to start with some automotive news. And it is good news because there's a new Lexus GX and there's no other way of putting it. It looks absolutely awesome. I love where manufacturers are going with squared off SUVs personally, and I think they look really fantastic and purposeful. The new Lexus GX will be sporting a twin turbocharged 3.4 liter V6 engine that will be standard across all the GX's lineup. This will come with 349 horsepower, which even gives it more horsepower than the previous GX's V8. And the new 3.4 liter will be mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission as standard. The GX will also be getting some off-road models, including one with 18-inch wheels and 33-inch all-terrain tires. Expect the new GX to be able to tow up to about 8,000 pounds with the right trim level. All the GX models come with a 14-inch infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and can be optioned with a 21-speaker Mark Levinson surround sound system, which I'm sure sounds fantastic. I am very excited to see this in person. In keeping with the SUV redesign theme, Chevrolet is releasing an all-new 2024 Chevy Traverse, and again, great design. I think this looks fantastic and much better than the previous generation. Not that that was a bad looking vehicle, but I really like the front end and the styling on this much better. The new Traverse is going to come with a new turbocharged engine, which is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, which Chevrolet says should make about 315 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. And it will also be attached to GM's 8-speed automatic transmission. There will be a Z71 off-road package available, which gives this unique 18-inch wheels, all-terrain tires, aluminum skid plates, and a revised suspension setup. I also appreciate that Chevy is using a column-mounted shifter, so manufacturers are really bothering me with wild ways of putting cars in gear these days. If you want to throw your hat in the ring for one of these upcoming 24 Traverses, make sure to check them out at Sorento Chevrolet. We're going to keep the SUV theme going with Hyundai's radically redesigned new Hyundai Santa Fe. The new Santa Fe has had a wild transformation and I actually quite like it. Just like the previous vehicles I mentioned, this has been redesigned with a very boxy profile and, like I said, radical new styling. And if it looks anything like it does in the pictures, I can't wait to see these on the road. This will be offered with a turbocharged 2.5 liter inline 4 that should make somewhere in the range of about 300 horsepower. Hyundai also hinted that there may be a hybrid model coming in the upcoming lineup of the new Santa Fe, and I think it just looks rad. Last but not least, let's talk about some performance. This is Hyundai's new Ioniq 5N. In 2024, Hyundai is releasing a 641 horsepower version of its already popular Ioniq 5, calling it the Ioniq 5N. Now it has 641 horsepower, 545 pound-feet of torque, and it does 0 to 60 in a claimed 3.4 seconds. Now the Ioniq 5 is a cousin of the EV6, but it features its own specific suspension calibration, electronically controlled dampers, and spring tuning. I just can't believe how fast these electric cars are getting. 3.4 seconds from an all-electric Hyundai is pretty neat. Now 3.4 seconds speaks to you, as does the new design language. You're going to need to get yourself over to Hyundai of Newport in Middletown, Rhode Island. That concludes our automotive news. On to more car stuff.
At Premier Kia, we're stocked with new Kias. Plus, each new Kia comes with our exclusive Buyer's Benefits package that includes a free lifetime powertrain warranty. To learn more, visit PremierKiaCT.com. Premier Kia, transparent pricing, exceptional service.
Hey everybody, we are back with Maurice from Kia of Attleboro, everybody's favorite Kia guy, and today we're going to be living the van life. We're going to be talking about
the Kia Carnival MPV.
Yahoo! Now, vans of old, people are like, oh, I'm never going to drive a van. But you and I were talking off camera. I can't even believe I'm saying it. It's a pretty cool van.
It's very cool. Kia does not want you to use the word van.
Oh, really?
They rebranded and remarketed it as the MPV, the multi-purpose vehicle.
All right.
The Kia Carnival replaces the Kia Sedona van,
Sure.
and it's directly marketed towards that family that says, I'll never drive a van. So
Okay, cool.
Here we are with the Kia Carnival MPV, back for 2024 with no changes because it was such a hit in 22 and 23.
Yeah, and this has a pretty big V6 engine, right?
Same V6 that you'll find in our flagship Telluride. It gives it plenty of power, plenty of pep. You'll never be in a situation where you're not passing somebody.
Nice.
Not that you should always be passing people.
Hey, but you know, when you're in the van, sometimes you gotta give it a little, let everybody know the van's still fast. I see this is the SX model I think you mentioned when we were talking, and we have 20-inch wheels, we have a cool grille. Yeah, give us a little rundown of the exterior here.
So you'll notice right away the SX stands out because it does have the more aggressive grille with the nice chrome finish on there to give it a more aggressive look. You'll only find that on the SX.
It's a little Range Rover-y.
It very much is, and Kia's not afraid to say that they do steal some styling from the high-end luxury European brands. You'll get the HID headlamps on the outside of an SX, the 20-inch blacked out wheels, roof rails come standard on EX and above, and it's just a sharp looking vehicle from the back tail lights that go all the way across the entire exterior. They did a great job with the redesign.
I really like the light bar. I know a lot of manufacturers have been using that, but I think it's really unique, and from far away it looks pretty neat as well. Now, are these sliding doors on the outside, or are they open regular?
Dual sliding doors.
Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about, obviously, all the Kia products come with a myriad of things to help you when you're in traffic, driving, blind spot. Tell us about some of the technologies in this.
So when you start with the Kia DriveWise, safety, tech, they really load you up. These vehicles not only have the ability to alert you when you're about to get into a forward collision, or if somebody's behind you, or if somebody's in your blind spot. It actually assists with the steering as well as the brakes when you are in any type of emergency situation like that. So when you see the word assist after forward collision, after blind spot, after rear collision, that means it's actually going to help you with the braking in any type of emergency situation.
And that's always great if you've got kids, dogs, what have you in the car distracting you. Not that you should be distracted driving, but it's always a helpful hand from over here from Kia.
Absolutely, and the systems all work together. The cameras work with the safety features as well as with the navigation. You can turn on the smart navigation and cruise control, and it will literally help you stay in the correct lane on the highway.
That's really neat. That's part of the smart cruise technology, and it's got the surround view monitor. I was just driving, oh my gosh, what was I in? I was in some kind of Lincoln product, which will be on this show, by the way. And I really like the fact that manufacturers are utilizing the huge screen to have a big camera, because if you're driving an MPV, I didn't say van, you definitely want to see completely around that car with that 360 view, so you can see dogs, children, all kinds of things.
Anything from bikes to pedestrians, cyclists, everything like that.
Ah, yes, the cyclists. So we were talking earlier, now the vehicle that you drove is the most affordable model. I think that's in the high 30,000 range, and you said that comes standard with leather, heated seats, all kinds of things.
Yeah, so I always like to stay away from using the term base model, entry level, however you want to coin it. The LX seat package is a true 8-passenger. You have the ability to remove the middle seat in the middle row, make it a 7-passenger, and give you those captain's chairs that everybody everybody seeks as the captain's chair setup.
Yep.
Or it's a true 8-passenger. But to touch on what you're saying, even at the entry level, you get leather, heated seats, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, backup camera, Bluetooth. It's loaded.
Yeah.
And you don't lose any of the safety features. You don't have all of the advanced driving assist features, but you have your standard lane keep, blind spot, forward collision, and rear collision.
That's really nice. I noticed it comes standard with a really large screen, that 12-inch touchscreen. And tell me a little bit more about this navigation-based smart cruise control. What does that actually do?
When you're in the top trim level, the SX, the navigation will work along with the cruise control and the safety features to not only keep you a safe distance from the car in front of you, but to keep you in the same lane that you're supposed to be in for the entire trip.
Oh, that's fantastic. And as we all know, nothing's better to travel long distance in than an MPV. I've always been a man of the van, And I've never been one of those never van guys because I think they do everything well, and they're surprisingly fast.
They do. The guys at the dealership make fun of me because I say this thing is great. You can put bike racks up there. You can load up
everything.
You can load up the roof racks. You can put bumper stickers on it and look like a cool active guy. And they're like, "There's nothing cool and active about that." And I'm like, "There really is."
Yeah, there is. I see, and it has obviously plenty of room for cargo. This is going to get better fuel mileage than, say, something like a Tahoe or a full-size SUV, and still has the pretty much same amount of space inside, right?
Absolutely. You're not giving up any cargo or versatility or function. Look at these folks on the camping trip, loading it up with a whole bunch of gear. You get the extra power outlet in the back when you have the SX, and you are going to get better fuel economy out of the efficient V6.
Absolutely, and I've driven that V6 and it has plenty of power. What are those rated for horsepower these days?
That's at 297.
Hey, that's not too bad. So we have all kinds of things. I see we got some dual monitors back here.
So there's some unique features like the dual monitors that are standard from the factory on the SX rear seat entertainment package.
Sure.
But there's something cool called passenger view and passenger talk, which goes into play when you have a family. I had a customer come in and they specifically wanted that trim because they had an elderly member of the family that they always wanted to keep an eye on. So when she's seated in the back, they were able to turn on the camera, talk to her, and view her and make sure she was always safe and comfortable on long trips. And that was the thing that actually drove that sale home.
Wow.
It was a really, really cool thing to be able to deliver that to that family.
Is that a class exclusive thing?
It may be. I know one thing I'd love to touch on that is class exclusive is the rear sunroof on the top trim actually opens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been in a car with a rear sunroof.
So
It's always just a viewing window.
Yeah, so even our Telluride flagship SUV, the rear sunroof does not open. It's just a fixed glass roof.
Right.
On the Carnival, it's an actual power sunroof, and it's really cool.
Gotta love that. So you said we have passenger view. This is what we were talking about. Wow, look at that. That's pretty neat.
It's very neat.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned it with, I wouldn't think of that. I always think of, an MPV with children, dogs. I very rarely think, you need to take care of an elderly parent,
right.
friend.
It was a unique situation, and it was a cool moment to be able to deliver that to that family.
That's fantastic. I mean, as with all the new Kias, it's got a great looking interior. I really like the finish on the dash. I put some hands on the one that was here today. And like I said, even on the most entry-level trim, it has leather seats and heated seats, which is really neat. And I see this has got to be the SX. We've got the digital display here and actual buttons.
Yes, actual buttons, and they really do top it off nice with the SX trim when you get the digital display for the cluster in front of you.
Let's see. Oh, and you can get the Bose sound system, 12 speakers, which I'm sure is plenty. Yeah, look at all the space in this thing. That's wild. So Maurice, it's full of standard safety features. You can kind of get in any trim level. It's got some class exclusive things. I think it looks really great. It's crazy to say things like MPVs or vans and things like the Prius actually look good. I can't even believe it's coming out of my mouth here for coming for 2024. So I think it's an interesting vehicle. I'm glad you came in to tell us about it and tell us where we can get them.
As always, thank you so much for having me. It's always exciting to talk to a true car guy like yourself. It is an exciting vehicle. This is the SX in the highly sought after Astra Blue trim. You can find me at Kia of Attleboro anytime. Shop me online at kiavattleboro.com or just come to South Attleboro, Mass. and ask for Maurice.
All right, you got it, brother. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll see ya.
During the Make This the Summer sales event at Elmwood Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, lease a 23 Jeep Wrangler 4xe Willys for $375 a month, or lease a 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited 4xe for $379 a month. Plus, we have 23 Ram 1500 quad cabs for only $42,999. Elmwood Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Route 44 in East Providence, or online at elmwoodcdjr.com.
Come get charged up at Kia of Attleboro's Summer Electric Sales Event.
Maurice here at Kia of Attleboro, and for this month only, save up to $6,000 off of all EV6s. Or save up to $5,000 off of all Nero EVs. And only here will you get double the factory warranty, double the trade-in value, and quick and convenient service. Exit 2B off 95, South Attleboro, Mass, or KiaofAttleboro.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It is time for our Priority Premium segment. I love doing this segment because Priority Premium always has the neatest cars. We're going to do a top 10 today, as we always do, and we're going to start off with this beautiful Audi A4. So what's unique about this vehicle, why it's one of the ones that I picked, is because it might be a 2022, but I like the color combination. You don't see a lot of these with dark blue with the brown interior, and look at this, it has 3,500 miles. And it's only $39,900. Now the reason I bring that up is you're pretty much saving $10,000 or so off of sticker. The Audi A4 is a great all-around car, wonderful quattro all-wheel drive as we've mentioned before in the program, Continental tires. I really like Audi's design language, not only on their exterior, but especially on their interiors. I think the steering wheel is a very neat shape and it's aesthetically pleasing, personal choice, but I think they're pretty neat. You have all modern amenities, obviously Apple CarPlay, anything you think you'd get in an Audi you have in this one. I really like these vehicles. I mean, this is a great all-arounder and they are very good on fuel. Like I mentioned, this has the two-tone dark and brown interior. Check this one out. I think it's a unique A4 in a sea of gray and black ones. Have a blue one. Now, if you're looking for a sports sedan, and a larger sports sedan at that is still athletic but has huge presence, the Alpina B7 is an excellent choice. It might not be a car that some of our viewers have heard of before, maybe some of you have. Now this one being a 2018, Alpina is a tuner for BMW, and I just think the styling's fantastic. They changed the engine. It's a more powerful version. This one has the stylish Alpina wheels, which if you look back and take a little look on the internet, just look up Alpina wheels. They've always had this style. It's got the blue gauges, blue stitching. It's a really unique car. But these cars go for well over $100,000, and this one's only $69,900, and it only has 40,000 original miles. And Alpine white on Fiona with red black interior. I think that's a fantastic combination. You got to get over there and check these out. I think these are very, very cool, and nobody else, I'm betting, in your neighborhood is going to have one. So if you want to be unique and you like a car that looks like this and you love the drive of a BMW and you want something that really makes a statement and can cruise all the miles you want to at highway speeds, this is a great car. Next up is this 2022 BMW 440i M Sport. Being the M Sport, it gets different brakes, slightly different suspension tuning, a little bit more of a sportier ride, sportier car. You get these unique black wheels. This one has a black top with a beige interior. If you haven't driven one of the new 440s, go drive one because the transmission is super slick, super fast, and the turbocharged 6-cylinder the BMW is most well known for is at home in this vehicle, and it really scoots. This is a wonderful all-rounder, rides well, it's a convertible, it also has back seats, so if you need to take the kids or friends out to dinner. And don't forget, even though it's a turbo 6, it still gets fairly good mileage. You get over 30 miles to the gallon on the highway on these. This one's $71,900 and only has 4,300 miles. I think it's a very sharp car and definitely worthwhile to take a look at. Next up is this 2020 BMW X4M Competition, and they call this a sports activity coupe. Coupe being, it has this fastback roofline. So think of this as pretty much an X3 competition with a sporty roofline. So if that's something you're interested in, this is a great car. You have the all-wheel drive traction. It's a little smaller than an X5, so it's identical to the X3 other than the roofline, a little sportier. This one's gray on gray, $68,900. Turbocharged 6-cylinder engine, 8-speed automatic, all-wheel drive, 13,000 miles. This is a very unique vehicle. I really like the gray as it's not going to show a lot of dirt and things. We have the quad exhaust tips here, and this just isn't an X4M, it is the M Competition, which is even one step up from the M, if you can believe it. So let's take a
quick look at a couple more pictures. So even with the fastback roofline, you have plenty of room back here for if you have a dog or groceries or you're moving some furniture. This vehicle still has plenty of room for that. It also offers a sporty appearance and a sporty look. All right guys, this is a special one. It's pretty near and dear to my heart because I remember when Bentley released this version of this car, I always really loved it because it brings all the Bentleyness of Bentley to light, being that it is comfortable and extremely fast. This is a 2013 Bentley Continental GT, but it is the GT Speed. So this has the W12, so 12-cylinder, twin turbocharged engine, and this version puts out 616 horsepower, and nears makes no difference, 600 pound-feet of torque. This has a top speed of well over 200 miles per hour, so you can tell everybody at the dinner party. It has some of the biggest brakes that have ever been fitted to a road car, and of course, I like this one because it is Giorgio spec in the black, or as they call it, Beluga on Beluga, because it is, of course, a Bentley. Now these new, I think these were near $200,000. This one's being offered at $89,900, and it only has, of course, being a Bentley, 24,000 miles. Now this does have 4 seats like all the other GT Continentals, but you get the wonderful interior, rifled exhaust tips you can see there, and that classic Bentley look. I love the wheels on this car. I mean, and look at the interior. You got the stitched dashboard. Everything's covered in leather and metal. And you'll see in another part of the show, I'll be driving another Bentley, and they are really special. When you get in them, pictures do them no justice. You have to get over here, sit in it, feel it, touch it, drive it. If this is a vehicle that interests you and you need something that can cover lots of miles at significant speed, I don't know if there's anything better to do it in than a Bentley Continental GT Speed, especially in this spec. I think it's a really neat car. Can you tell I like it? Definitely get down and check this one out. Yes, over 200 miles an hour, 616 horsepower. It's the coolest of cool Bentleys. Another car I love coming up here is this 2016 Jaguar F-Type R Coupe, and this is in Caldera red. It has the beautiful Type R wheels, and I love a Jag. Jags are cool. You can say you're driving your Jag, you're taking the Jag out. You don't say, oh, I'm taking the red car. You go, I'm taking the Jag. I think these are really neat. I think they're very, very stylish. Of course, it's a Jaguar. This car, even though it's the size, we see a Boxster in the background here, it's about the size of a Boxster or 911, has a supercharged 5-liter V8 engine, similar to the one you get in the big Range Rover. In this small package, it's extremely fast, and if you haven't heard one, I always say go on YouTube, look up some exhaust videos. These crackle and pop, and they sound fantastic, both under acceleration and under braking when they're downshifting. It's just a really neat car. This one, obviously, a beautiful one, low mileage, red brake calipers, $57,900 and 19,000 miles. Now the interior on this car is also unique. I think actually the best part about this car is the back. I think it just looks fantastic. It's the quad exhausts there. You even have a hatch so you can put some things to go away for the weekend with your significant other. And I just think these are really, really neat cars. They're comfortable, they're fast, they're on the sporty side, so think of more like a 911 type ride, but at the same time, 911s are neat, but I personally prefer the style of a Jag. So if this one tickles your fancy, get on down there, test drive it, enjoy the supercharger, and take my word for it, these are a total hoot to drive. Alrighty, back into SUV land, we have this 2020 Defender 110. So Land Rover makes 2 models of the Defender. They make the 110 and the 90. Those used to refer to the wheelbase on the vehicles. However, on the new ones, the 110 is the 4-door, and then of course we have the shorter 2-door model, which is the 90. Now this one is fully spec'd out. It's got the roof rack, the black wheels, we have side steps. It's got the 2-tone paint. I like that the black roof matches the black wheels. It's a very cool vehicle. I've driven a few of these. I think they're really neat, as I do with most of the cars here at Priority Premium. And of course, this one has custom wheels. We have off-road tires, which I like. I think those are Nitto Terra Grappler G2s. I'm a total nerd. But the nice thing is that I like that somebody put some off-road tires on this vehicle, because a lot of people might use this just to go to the store and what have you, but I think this vehicle always deserves an aggressively treaded tire, as it is a Land Rover Defender and it's meant to go everywhere. These have air suspension, a turbocharged 6-cylinder mild hybrid engine, a smooth transmission, and even though the vehicle's fairly large, it's pretty maneuverable as it has a great camera system. And because it's a Defender, you sit up very high, and I've always mentioned I'm not very tall, so that's great for me to see down the road and have a commanding view of the road. I think these look super menacing from the front. You saw some of these similar older models in the James Bond movies. I just think they're really neat. In the interior, clean, classic Land Rover, and what you can't see from the pictures that you can see in real life is there's plenty of space. There's space here behind this screen. There's all kinds of, if you have things, kids, dogs, books, maps, it has so many cubbies and places to put things, and of course it also has a panoramic sunroof. So if you need something that's, I think it's really neat looking, gives you a lot of utility, and something that gives you a lot of capability in all 4 seasons, whether you go camping or you drive in the snow or you have to get to work in the snow, or just get off the beaten path, or you just like driving something kind of cool, this is definitely a vehicle that you want to check out. Now this one's being offered at $79,900 and only has about 39,000 miles on it, so definitely check this one out. I think these are a worthwhile vehicle to see in person, as I think they're very interesting and very fun to drive. Speaking of fun to drive is this 2015 Maserati Gran Turismo Sport Convertible. For those of you who watch the show, I drove one of these on the show and it drives fantastic. And my favorite part about it is not only the styling, but the exhaust, as this has a Ferrari-derived V8 engine, of course. This one, gray with the red interior, I think is a classic, timeless, and very handsome color combination and design. The one I drove, I couldn't get over how great it sounded. I'm big on exhaust noise and engine sounds, as you may know. I think this car has huge presence, 4 seats, and yes, you can actually use those back seats, although they are small. I just think these are really, really neat looking cars. Again, the back, the dual exhaust, it sounds fantastic. Upshifts, downshifts, you have the paddle shift transmission, the big V8 out front, we have a nice hood scoop, and of course, the Maserati symbol. Everybody knows you're driving the Maserati. I like these wheels because they're not too flashy, yet they complement the color and style of the vehicle. And also, if you want to go flashy, this does have a very serious red interior, which I'm a huge fan of because it's a sporty car, it should look cool, it should have a flashy interior. So it's a Maserati, you don't just buy a Maserati and it's just ho-hum. Notice the carbon fiber seat backs here and carbon fiber trim, carbon fiber around the wheel, blue gauges. This is a car that is stylish but not shouty, and tasteful but not silly. If you like Maseratis, or if you've heard one or experienced one, or you're in the market for one, this is a great one. 2015, and I believe it's got fairly low mileage on it. We have it listed for $67,900, and of course, 13,000 miles. Get over there and check this car out. The interior is even cooler in person, especially with all the carbon fiber. I'm sure you've seen a lot of Mercedes-Benz products on the road, as they're sturdy, reliable, and overall a wonderful vehicle. And the reason I picked this one is it's a very interesting color combination. Now, this is a 2021 Mercedes-Benz E450 Cabriolet, the 450 being the highest output before you get to the E53 and E63, which are the AMG cars. This is a really neat vehicle. Straight 6 engine, 9-speed transmission. It is Designo Patagonia Red. 4,900 miles on this vehicle, $74,900. It's an extremely unique color combination. I've never seen it. I had heard of the color name, but I'd never seen it in person. I think it presents well with the matching convertible roof. We have one of the sedans in the family, and it works wonderfully. The all-wheel drive's fantastic, and at nighttime, which you can't see here, these have wonderful lighting on the interior, and you can completely customize it. The seats are very comfortable. It's great for a long haul, and this being a convertible, we're filming here in Newport today as we are normally. It's a great car to bring down to Newport with the top down. This has the beautiful interior. I like the 3-spoke steering wheel. I think Mercedes-Benz has some of the best looking interiors. I see the Burmeister sound system in here. Everything you get with a modern Mercedes-Benz. So definitely check this one out. I think it is a unique car, especially if you're used to a Mercedes-Benz product. Why not have one that is special in the sea of ones that are all silver, black, white? Not those colors are bad, but I think this one's unique and I think it looks great. Last but certainly not least on our top 10 is this awesome 2011 Rolls-Royce Ghost. Now the Ghost is the smaller version of the Rolls-Royce Phantom, which you might be familiar with. It looks like a battleship, it's so large. Whereas this is more of an everyday Rolls-Royce for comfortable cruising. You have to do the Rolls-Royce voice when you talk about Rolls-Royces. Now this has an interesting color combination, and you have the silver with the black and the black wheels. And if you notice, the Rolls-Royce symbol, is always standing upright, because as you drive, those stay straight up and down, which is really neat. So as the wheel spins, those stay centrally located. So if you're driving and you see one of these on the road, look at the wheels and you'll see the Rolls-Royce doesn't even move, which is pretty cool. Obviously somebody really spec'd this one out for themselves. I see we've got the silver on the hood. We have the silver around the bezels, around the doors there. We have the Spirit of Ecstasy here on the hood. That's the Flying Lady. And another neat feature is, of course, the rear suicide doors. So they open this way, as it makes for easier entry and exit for the passengers. I know, I have to do the Rolls-Royce voice. I like the thin rim steering wheel. I think that's really neat. It's very classic Rolls-Royce, a nod to the older cars. We have a dual pane sunroof, some beautiful Michelin tires, of course a big old trunk, and extremely comfortable seats. Now this car is offered for sale at $129,900, and I promise you, you'll be the only person with one. 16,000 miles, and the one thing I didn't mention is it has a silent but extremely smooth and very powerful Rolls-Royce V12. So if you want to get your paws on this one, get on down to Priority Premium Hyundai of Newport. Now I just wanted to mention that they have moved 200 yards down the road to 1215 West Main Road in Middletown. So if you like any of the cars you've seen on the show today, get down there, call them up, inquire, check them out.
It's our 1-year anniversary here at Kia of Groton, and to celebrate, we're offering specials all month long.
Lease a 2024 Kia Seltos LX all-wheel drive for $249 a month, or buy any 2023 Kia Niro for MSRP.
We're offering all military an extra $500 off. Get double the factory warranty, double the trade-in value, and quick and convenient service. 421 Route 12 in Groton, or online at kiaofgroton.com. You'll be glad you did.
So this vehicle we have here today is the 2022 Ford F-350 Super Duty, and this is an F-350, not a 250, meaning it can carry a little more weight. And this one also has the Tremor package on it, and as I mentioned, it's all blacked out with the black appearance package. Now, if you look at the front, being a Lariat, you have these LED lights around here, which is a very signature Ford look on their Super Duty trucks. And because you have the Tremor package, we have some huge 35-inch Goodyear Wrangler tires, and there's a little bit of a lift on the truck, and also you have heavy-duty suspension. Now this vehicle is a 2022 model year, and this one in particular has the 7.3-liter, Ford calls it the Godzilla V8. Now that's a gasoline engine that they just developed. Now in 2023, these motors make about 430 horsepower and 485 pound-feet of torque. So in the upcoming model year, Ford's also offering a 6.8-liter version of this 7.3-liter engine, and that'll have 405 horsepower and 435 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you really want to get serious and you really need some serious towing, the 2023 F350 with the dual rear wheels and the high output diesel engine can tow up to 40,000 pounds and has an 8,000 pound capacity for payload, which is totally insane. Now that engine, to pull all that weight, 500 horsepower and 1,200 pound-feet of torque. So there are a lot of great features back here to help you with towing and obviously around the bed of the truck. One of them being this automatic tailgate. And another being this integrated step and handle to get in. And for somebody like me, it's only 5'7", that's a great feature. And everything stows away just as easily. Ta-da! The interior of the Super Duty is so full of features it's going to be hard to cover them all, but I'm going to do my very best. So obviously we have power windows, but one thing I really like, especially if you're towing, is we have power extending side mirrors, which is great, especially if you're sticking mirrors on the outside of things. If you're towing is always a pain. These extend electronically, which is awesome. And this being a Lariat, we have all the goodies. We have automatic dual zone climate control, heated and cooled seats, and we have this beautiful infotainment system display with the latest Ford Sync system technology. One thing I really like, seeing as this is a work truck and kind of a fun truck, if you have your buddies or you have a bunch of work people in the vehicle, a lot of people a lot of times drink a lot of coffee. So if we look here in the center console, we have 2 cup holders. However, slide this sucker over, you have 4 cup holders, and there are additional 2 back here. Also, we have wireless charging down here, a USB port, and a USB-C port. Let's not forget, it is a work truck. So we have plenty of storage in the center console where you can put a laptop, books, anything you need for the job site, and also there's a 12-volt outlet down here. Speaking of outlets, this truck has plenty. One down here, a few I mentioned over here, and we have a regular 110-volt outlet right here and another 12-volt. Not only do we have a regular sized glove box here, but Ford also offers this neat little cubby right here for pencils and notepads. This vehicle also has a beautiful entire length of cab panoramic sunroof, which is really cool for a large pickup truck like this. And while we're up here, I want to show you we have all these auxiliary switches. So if you need to switch to a PTO, you have lights, you have certain accessories that you want to add to this vehicle. The truck is all pre-wired to these auxiliary switches. Also, who doesn't feel cool flipping these like an airplane pilot? I'm such a child. So when it comes to Super Duty pickup trucks, I know a lot of you out there are experts and you can back up a trailer and all that. But if you're not an expert, like me, there are plenty of options on this truck that are going to help you tow your trailer. And if you don't have a trailer, this truck is a pretty big truck, but Ford's got you covered. We've got a 360 surround view camera here and a beautiful backup camera. Now most vehicles, generally when you put the vehicle in reverse, they give you that great camera. But you know, if you're at a camping spot or you're just in a tight parking lot, we've got a button right up here. You can engage your rear camera and your 360 view so you can navigate properly. So this F350 Lariat is actually not as imposing to drive as one might think. Actually, I was talking to my cameraman here, Morgan, and as soon as we got in it, I said, the turning radius in this truck is really good. And also, I don't know if you've driven a lot of Super Duty trucks, but a lot of times, you know, the light duty trucks, they have pretty good steering, but once you get to the Super Duties, it can be a little rubbery, and it doesn't do a very good job of communicating the road. I've got to say, even on these really big 35-inch tires, it's doing a really great job of telling me what's going on the front end as we had it out on the road earlier. I'm really surprised. Now, this being an F350, I also thought the ride was going to be fairly compromised, obviously because of the payload capacity, but I've been driving it over humps and bumps and all kinds of things, and I've got to say, it is the best riding Super Duty and easily the quietest that I've driven. And I want to thank Tasca for letting me take this vehicle out, as it's kind of changed my mind on heavy-duty trucks. I have an 81 F250 myself, and it is amazing to see how far these have come from being just a strictly utility vehicle to something that can work really hard, you can take to dinner, and it's pretty much a do-it-all machine. It's a very impressive truck. Get down here and take one for a ride.
Ocean has two convenient locations, Ocean Newport and Ocean Westerly Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. This month, during the Make This the Summer Sales event, save $17,000 off a 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe Sahara, or save 20% off 2022 Ram 2500s. Visit the store closest to you for these limited time specials, or visit us online at newportjeep.com or westerlyjeep.com.
MRT Jewelers, wedding bands, diamonds, and so much more.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Configurator. This week we're doing heavy duty trucks, and today I've selected a Ram 3500. Whether you're towing your boat, a horse trailer, or you just need a heavy duty truck, this is a wonderful one to go with, and we're going to build one. So let's check it out. So we're here with the 2023 Ram 3500, a 1-ton pickup truck. And the reason I picked the 3500 is because I'm a big fan of the Cummins diesel engine. The 6.7 liter inline 6, not a V8, an inline 6 that comes in these is legendary, both for reliability and power. So let's go down here. For me at least, I want 4-wheel drive. Now I'm picking the Laramie because now the Tradesman is great. For a fleet vehicle, the Bighorn is another great vehicle that's probably your best bang for buck. But if you're going to be spending, newer trucks are kind of in the 60s to the 80s, 90s. The Laramie comes standard with leather seats, and if I'm spending that much money on a truck, I like to have the leather seats. So let's go with that. Pick a configuration here. Now, we have a crew cab with an 8-foot box, which is just your regular crew cab, and that has the 8-foot bed on it. Now, that's a very long truck. And for me, I do a lot of parallel parking. Sometimes the truck is for work, sometimes it's for going out to dinner. So I'm going to go with the 6-foot 4-inch box. And also you notice down here there's the Mega Cab. When you say Mega Cab, you have to say it like that, Mega Cab. It is very luxurious. The back seat is like a limousine. And some people like to go with that, but I'm just going to go for the regular crew cab for today. So we're going to go crew cab, 6-foot 4-inch box. Let's build it. Now, like I mentioned, I want to go for the Cummins turbo diesel engine, of course, because we're performance-minded here on this show. If you get the Cummins, you got to go for the high-output turbo diesel engine. Now, this has over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. Yes, 1,000. We're in 2023, a state where you can get 1,000 foot-pounds in a truck of towing power with no tune, and this still complies with emissions standards. It's really wild what they've been able to do with these diesel engines. And this is a 6-cylinder engine, 6.7 liters. So we're going to go with that, the high output turbo diesel engine. Now I know this has some kind of graphite block. We have we have the 6-speed ASIN transmission, which I know is super stout. I was doing some research on these suckers. Let's scroll down here. We've got our axle ratio, 373 axle ratio. I'm sure your performance guys are familiar with 373s, 410s, put them in your Mustangs, Camaros, and what have you. Chevys being obviously 411s. 373 comes standard with the high output Cummins. The 410 is something you can get with the 6.4 liter Hemi, which is also available in this truck if you don't want to go for the diesel. But I would go for the diesel if I'm having a high output truck that is heavy duty. And obviously if I'm getting something like this, now I tow things once in a while, so I'm definitely going to want the trailer camera wiring. Go right here. This truck's also available with automatic leveling air suspension, so when you load up the back of the truck, sometimes you'll see that it squats a little bit. This automatic leveling suspension does exactly what you think it might, which is it levels out the rear of the truck, so that doesn't adjust the suspension geometry, and it gives you an overall better towing experience. Go down here. We've got dual alternators. I wouldn't be needing that. I don't have any crazy lights I'd be putting on my truck. We've got an engine block heater. It does once in a while get super cold here. So we're going to add that. Rear backup alarm, I wouldn't be needing that, I don't think, because we have plenty of cameras. And now we go down here to the packages. Now, we're going to go over here to the bed utility group, deployable bed step, and LED lighting. And of course, I always suggest getting a spray-in bed liner, because if you get a drop-in bed liner, some of you guys might know that water can get under there, or it moves around a little bit and then it starts rusting and you might not even know it because the liners are plastic. So I always suggest a spray-in bed liner, and we're going to go with that right here. And I always need the deployable bed step because, being 5'7", this is a huge truck. I look a little silly trying to jump into it. So we're going to choose that. What are we requiring us to change? Let's see. We're going to go to the Laramie Level 1 equipment group, which I'll explain later. Now the Level 1 equipment group gives us the 12-inch touchscreen that Ram is famous for. They have a very large Tesla-style screen, but of course they still have buttons, like I like, right under the screen. And that gives us everything we see here, things such as Apple CarPlay, some chrome exterior mirrors, blind spot detection, we have power adjustable convex auxiliary mirrors, a myriad of items that are going to be super helpful. And I'm going to say, are you looking at how long this list of items is? That's only $4,000. That's pretty crazy. Remote tailgate release, power adjustable mirrors, mirror running lights, GPS navigation. I mean, all of this is super useful. So we go down here, and of course, I'm a little bit of a punk, so I want to go for the night edition because we like black on our trucks. I think it looks really neat. And you can see we're up to $93,420 because we did add the $12,000 option for the high output diesel. But these trucks, I mean, they go 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 miles. So I think they're worth it. So we're going to scroll down here. We've got the transfer case protection. We want to do that for certain so we don't run over anything. We're going to cruise down here. Towing technology group, that gives you that surround view camera, and you can actually pick which camera you go into. I've used this before on different models and it's extremely useful, especially if you have a trailer. And I always say, if you have a truck this big, as many cameras as you can have to help you out is always a nice thing, especially if you're backing a boat into the water, there are kids around, pets. It's always great, especially with a larger vehicle, to have a lot of crisp cameras like these trucks do. So we're going to add that. Go in there. I did the black appearance package, so we're going to skip the sport appearance package here. I wouldn't be needing a fifth wheel, that's just me. That's the one that mounts in the bed for anybody not knowing, and that's for like a little bit heavier trailers and such. So we're going to go down here and look at the exterior. Alright, here we are at the exterior of the vehicle. Now obviously this is offered in many different colors, but I like this Delmonico Red Pearl Coat exterior paint, as Dodge calls it. I think it looks great with the blackout pack that's on the vehicle. So we're going to scroll down to my most important feature, at least for me, of a heavy-duty truck is, of course, it needs clearance lamps up here on the roof, which they will appear momentarily. I just think clearance lamps look really cool, and they say, look at me, I've got a heavy-duty pickup truck. But with in all seriousness, I think clearance lamps look really neat. Let's scroll down. We have the black 20-inch painted wheels. And as we go down here, we see that we have added our beautiful lights on the roof, our clearance lamps, and of course we have our spray and bed liner. I'm going to add a tonneau cover because I don't know how your weather is where you are, but it has rained all summer here, and we don't want our things to get wet in the bed of the truck. So I think a trifold tonneau cover is super useful, whether the weather's bad or good, so we can cover up our things back there and use it like a big trunk. So we're going to scroll down here and hop over to the interior. Next up, we're going to finish the vehicle off with the interior with some leather-trimmed bucket seats. We're going to go with the black interior to match the black exterior pack that we have with that beautiful red paint. Now you can get this in 5-passenger seating or 6-passenger, which means in the front there can be a bench where there can be a third seat in the middle, but I prefer a console. I think it's a lot more useful, unless you're carrying 6 passengers. But I don't do that, so I'm going to go 5-passenger. We've got our Uconnect 5 from Ram with the 12-inch touchscreen that we talked about earlier. we're going to add the power sunroof. And as we get down here to the end, we've got a summary. So we're looking at $97,325, this beautiful big Dodge Ram. And one thing I will mention, I really like the fact that they still have the column shift. I feel like when you put it in park, you feel it's very powerful. Boom, put it in park. I like the console shift. There's a lot of dial shifters. I like, in a big truck like this, I like this action. I know that's silly, but for me, oh, and by the way, if you've driven one of these, please do, by the way. It's very, it thuds and clunks, boom, into drive, and it clicks up to park. I know that sounds so silly, but I really do enjoy it. So this is the truck how I would build my Ram 3500, the high output Cummins, the black interior. So here we are, folks, 2023 Ram 3500 with the high output Cummins diesel in this beautiful red paint, and I'll go ahead and call this Mount Burgundy.
Premium is New England's destination for exceptional Highline pre-owned automobiles. Our collection is hand-picked by New England's top automobile experts. With over 100 years of overall experience working with the world's finest brands, we find the best examples of well-maintained, low-mileage, luxury, and exotic vehicles for our inventory. Just go to PriorityPremium.com where you'll see our current selection. Stop dreaming, start driving. Priority Premium.
We'll remain very involved with Camp Rising Sun. We believe in that, and we'll do that. So to be able to go to a camp once a year with a bunch of kids that look beyond cancer because they all have it or had it, lets them really be like a kid.
At Anchor Auto Group, we're very proud of our history. Looking back reminds us of where we've come from and how much we've grown. Taking care of our customers has always been the foundation for our business. And Bob, Brian, and Chris are still here every day, leading our team with the same hands-on approach that our customers have come to rely on. And as we have grown, we've also tried to be more than just a car dealership, supporting our community, making a difference. And our history continues with exciting additions for 2023 and beyond. Our all-new service and detailing facility expansion is scheduled to be ready soon. Our state-of-the-art service facility will offer our customers the largest, best-equipped service and auto detailing facility in New England, setting the bar for service excellence and exceeding our customers' expectations, lifting our community by giving back. At Anchor Subaru and Anchor Nissan, history continues.
All right, viewers, next up we're going to do a comparison, and this week it is the difference between the Nissan Rogue and the Nissan Rogue Sport. Now, even for someone like me who absolutely loves everything about cars, I actually kind of forgot there were two different models here. And actually a friend of mine has, had the Sport and ended up moving to the actual regular Rogue. So we're going to go over a couple of differences between the two because this might be helpful information for anybody shopping for these vehicles. Now, the Nissan Rogue has been out for a few generations now, and at least around here, they are everywhere. It's an extremely popular car, both the Sport and the regular Rogue, and it's a very competitive segment with things like the Mazda CX-5, CX-3, RAV4, CR-V, HR-V, and so on. So today we're going to be just talking about these two Nissans, so let's take a look. So the Rogue Sport is on our right here, and the Rogue, we would call the regular model, is on the left. The Sport, as you might have guessed, is slightly smaller and a little bit easier to park and easier to use in the city, whereas the regular Rogue is a little taller, a little more headroom, a little more capacity. So let's talk more about that. The Rogue Sport is less expensive. Those start around $25,000, whereas the normal Rogue starts around $28,000. Now, the regular Rogue has a Nissan's brand new 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. And the Rogue Sport has a naturally aspirated 2-liter 141 horsepower engine. So if we look down here in the cargo volume, you can see that there's a lot more cargo volume in the regular Rogue, obviously, because it's a little bigger. Like I was saying, I think if you're in the city and you like something that's easy to park and space is in a premium, the Sport is definitely the vehicle for you. But if you are more into getting kids, bikes, things into your vehicle, I think the regular Rogue might have the upper hand here. So if we look at cargo space overall, we just looked at that up top. Rear legroom is really where these two differ. Obviously, we have 38.5 versus 33.4 inches in the Sport. And then the big one is the cargo space behind the second row. Now, both of these vehicles are 5-seater vehicles, obviously 2 front seats and 3 seats across the second row. Neither of these have a third row, especially not the Sport. So if we go down here, the cargo space behind the second row, 36.5 cubic feet for the regular Rogue and 22.9 for the Rogue Sport. And also the Sport is about a foot shorter, although the wheelbase is fairly similar. It's within 2 inches. I've driven both of these vehicles. They both drive nicely, obviously, and they're comfortable, they're easy to see out of, and they come with all of Nissan's safety features, both of them do. The Rogue Sport has a more conventional 2-liter 4-cylinder non-turbocharged engine with 141 horsepower. And then if you move over to the regular Rogue, it has the 1.5-liter variable compression turbo 3-cylinder engine, 1.5 liters like I mentioned, and 201 horsepower. So in the regular Rogue, we have 225 pound-feet of torque from that 3-cylinder turbocharged 1.5 liter, and then we get 30 miles to the gallon city and 37 highway, which is pretty good considering it's not the smallest SUV in the world. It does have the availability to get all-wheel drive, and with the regular Rogue, you can choose from one of 5 driving modes depending on what you're doing. Sport mode, regular, eco, slippery, and then if you're kind of off-roading sand like this fun guy here going mountain biking. So with Nissan's products, they call it the Safety Shield 360 technologies, and that gives you automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, rear automatic braking, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, lane departure warning, and high beam assist. Now these are all great features, especially when you're in an urban environment and you're in a parking lot and there are lots of things going on. You're usually not that you're thinking about what you have to do and you're backing out of a spot. These can all be extremely helpful both on the road and at high and low speeds. Nissan's recently updated the interior on both of the Rogue and the Rogue Sport. We can see we have a nice sporty steering wheel here, actual buttons, which everybody who watches the show know I love. We have a neat, cool shifter down here, wireless charging on some of the higher trim levels. We have all of our AC and heat controls over here, and obviously Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Moving over to the Rogue Sport, a couple of different things about it. Like I mentioned, 141 horsepower and 147 pound-feet of torque. We have 25 to 32 miles per gallon, depending on if you have front wheel or all-wheel drive. That might vary. And if we go down here, I do say the Sport has less room than the regular Rogue, but obviously we can see if you need to pick up a really cool table, it'll fit great. The Sport has a different dash layout and a different center console layout here. With both Rogues, you can get it in the S, the SV, and the SL being the top trim, and both Rogues come with a CVT transmission. Now, if you think the Rogue might fit into your lifestyle and you just want to get down and test drive one, you definitely want to go to Anchor Nissan in Smithfield. That's right on 146. And I would suggest taking both for a drive, a nice long test drive, and see how you fit in them, check the back seat room, and depending on what you're using it for, I think both of these can be a great choice.
Thanks for watching the Auto Show. See you next time.